recording. So anytime you guys are ready.
Do my glasses look silly up
Your
here?
glasses look fine. Mine are up there half the time too.
Mine are too.
Until I lose them, and then it's like.
That way I know where they are if I'm like.
Maybe she
like
needs her
underneath
head.
them.
You're good that you can remember that they're up there, because I spend a lot of time
You
getting
can't see his.
I do that
His books
often.
are nicer looking than those right behind her head.
Yeah, we're not going to see it really.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll.
Am I being too picky?
a little bit.
I'm always picky.
Let's just pretend we're in the living room.
Yeah, here we are. We're in the library. She's ready. All right.
I'm going to put
Looking
my book there
good.
because I don't want to be looking at my notes for my name.
If you feel like I've got your name written down
That's
right here.
good.
Why do you think I
I mean,
asked?
if you ask my name, and I have to look on my book to find my name.
Then we're going to stop the
That'll be
interview.
really bad, won't it?
We're going to get a cup of coffee. We're going to relax. Okay.
Do you
ready?
want water beside you?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, Myra?
No,
water?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I got coffee in here, but
Oh,
that's
is this leg in the way like that?
no, it's fine. I just want you to be comfortable. I just want you to be like, I've come to your house. Yep, we're talking, and I've come to your house just because I haven't met you before, and you've
And you
said,
ask questions.
yeah, and you said, who's that crazy person I see hanging around the theater? And Judith says, well, you better go see her. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so but the way we're going to start is, just don't worry about that. Don't look at that. The way we're going to start is you're going to tell me what your name is, and you're not going to tell me necessarily when you were born, because if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to tell
I
me.
don't mind.
But okay, then when you were born and where you were born.
Okay.
And we'll start right like that. Just pretend I've already asked you.
My name is Rosalind Slater. I was born in 1940 in the north of England at a place called Oldham while the bombs were dropping on us.
Do you remember? Do you remember any of it?
Yes, I do. I remember being lifted out of my nice warm bed and carried downstairs to the air raid shelter. And we had, my father had built a new house, and because the war was happening, he'd been prepared, and he built the house with an air raid shelter under the house in the basement. And so under the air raid shelter, he had put an iron kind of tank thing into the ground so that it was even sturdier than the little room that was the air raid shelter. And it had an open end at one end, and there was just a curtain over it. And my sister frightened me. She terrified me by telling me there were rats behind the curtain. So I always made a great fuss of going in the air raid shelter. So I don't know if I was more afraid of the bombs or the rats. I think I got them mixed up in my very young mind, and refused to take any part in it.
Right. Yeah.
But they had to force me into the air raid shelter because of the rats.
Well, I understand that completely. Rats are disgusting.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about your sister.
My sister was 8 years my senior.
Okay.
And she was the apple of my parents' eye. She passed her exam to grammar school, so she went to a really good school. I failed my 11 plus, so I didn't get to go to the good school. But I had to wear her hand-me-down clothes, so I ended up wearing her school uniform at a very non-prestigious school. And so, of course, I got laughed at because I didn't have the right to wear that blazer, except that my parents had paid for it.
So looking back on that, that's a while ago. What kind of life lessons do you think you learned from that?
Usually to be angry with my sister, which is not a very good thing to learn.
I was angry with my
But,
sister too.
Yeah, I think, there's this sisterly thing that you get a little bit mixed up with. It's like you're supposed to love your sister, but there were times when I couldn't.
Do you think your parents understood that?
No, they were northerners.
You have to explain that to me. I don't know what that means.
Okay. It's very difficult to explain a northerner. They have a great sense of humour, but they laugh at everything, and some of the things they laugh at are not really funny. Usually they're children. The idea was to make the child tough by reminding them of what they were doing wrong, so making fun of them.
So how do you think, or do you think, I don't know, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, do you think that those early lessons impacted you in later life?
I think they helped me a lot.
How do you think they helped?
Well, I learned to laugh at myself. I learned to laugh at life. So when my husband got a terminal illness, I laughed at it. We laughed at it, the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was very funny.
In what way?
We just laughed. He led the way by laughing at his infirmities and encouraging me to laugh at him as well, and encouraging all his nurses and his PSWs to laugh with him. So our house was full of laughter and joy.
I think that's wonderful. And I'm going to ask you a question that I don't have the answer to, and that is, I hear it in your voice. When did you come to Canada, and did you meet your husband here, or did you come with him?
My husband was born in the same place as me in Oldham, England. So we came together, and we came Centennial Year.
1967.
Yes,
A gift to us.
yes.
A gift.
Yes, but my husband had an extremely good education. He passed his 11 plus at the age of 10.
Wow.
He went to a brilliant school as a foundation scholar and went to university, did extremely well, came here as a professor of engineering at the College of MacDonald Institute, and then it became Family and Consumer Studies. But when we came, it was MacDonald Institute, and his only students were female, which he really enjoyed.
I bet he did. Now, I'm new to Guelph, so I don't know what the MacDonald Institute
Okay,
was.
so it's part of the university.
Okay,
But
and
the university was originally, I think, 3 or 4 colleges. MacDonald Institute was one of the colleges. And they had the agricultural college and the engineering school, I think it was called. And through the years, it's kind of amalgamated and it all became a university. The year before we came to Guelph, it got its license as a university.
can you tell me a little bit more about about the MacDonald Institute and what he taught? My notes say he was an engineer. but I
He
don't
taught
think
textile engineering.
Oh, and you know what? I don't even know what that is.
Neither do I.
Okay. Can you give me a hint?
Yeah, it's if I say textiles, people think of fabric and arts and design. He was not a designer. He dealt with fabrics, but before they became fabrics. So he was, some of the experiments he used to do, he had one where he was testing the wetness of wool, and he had to, he'd invented some machine that would dry out the wool quicker when it came from the sheep, because when he got his degrees, textiles were natural, they were wool and cotton.
Right.
And then, of course, as years went on, they became man-made, and he got more into the chemical kind of stuff that makes fabrics.
That makes what I'm wearing probably.
Polyester and
Polyester.
stuff like that, yeah.
And yet, I know of your husband as part of the theater. So
Yes.
how did the two of you get engaged in the
Okay.
Guelph Little Theater?
Well, when we emigrated, I did some theatre in England as I was growing up. My family were involved with theatre, and we attended a Methodist church which had a drama club, and my mother directed plays and pantomimes, and she acted in them. My father was a beautiful tenor singer, and so he got more involved with operettas. And at some point of my life, they joined the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, and were always in the Gilbert and Sullivan operas. And then when I got into, I think I was about 15 when they decided they would take me along to join as well. So I joined the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, although I'm not a singer, but I joined the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, and I was in a couple of plays with them. And it was a family affair, and anyone who couldn't act or sing usually helped with sets and props. And we were very, very involved in dramatics.
Now I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to share my ignorance here, and you're going to help me understand it. my studies, such as they are, about the Methodist Church
Oh, yeah.
would lead me to believe that there wouldn't be a drama club associated with the Methodist Church. So can you help me understand that?
Well, it depended on the Methodist Church. I mean, they were always trying to find ways of making money in the churches who didn't have any money. And so a drama club and actually doing shows and charging people to see them was a good way of making money for impoverished churches. And it was also a way, I mean, we needed money to keep the church going, but we also needed money to do the good works that we were trying to do. So it was all kind of part of the Lancashire life.
Sort of balance. That's so interesting to
Yeah.
me, who's only looked at that church from an academic
Yeah.
perspective, if you like.
Just to give you an in on Methodism, there's no Methodist church now in Canada because the Methodists, the Congregationalists, some of the Presbyterians and some of the Baptists joined up and made the United Church of Canada. And it's the 100th anniversary this year
Is it?
of the United Church of
I
Canada.
did not know it was
Yes.
so long. To me, it seems like
Yeah.
yesterday.
So there's lots happening
Oh.
in Canada about the United Church this year.
United Church. And how do you feel? Now, I'm just going to back up for a second. So, was your husband part of those drama groups associated with the Methodist Church in England?
He was part of a different drama group. He didn't go to the same church as me, but yes, he got involved with things.
Mm-hmm.
He played Hereward the Wake in a historical play they did at some point.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I always said to him, you know, you should be an actor because you're always acting.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was like part of our life. I wanted to join a theatre group and I couldn't get to the theatre because I didn't drive. So my thought was if I persuaded him that he could act, he would join the theatre group and then he'd take me with him. And that's just what happened.
And that's what wives did back then, isn't it?
Exactly, yes, you needed to get a ride.
It
I mean,
reminds me of
he
my mother.
wanted me to learn to drive, but I wouldn't. And he always tried to get me. He said I should be going to university.
Mm-hmm.
He said I had the brains to do a degree, and I said, don't be ridiculous, I've never passed an exam in my life. And so he tried to get me to sit the mature student exam at the university. I tried to get him to audition for a play at Guelph Little Theatre. So this went on for quite a while. And then one day he came home from work and he said, guess what? I said, what? He said, one of my students is auditioning tonight at Guelph Little Theatre. I said, you're kidding? He said, no, they're doing a play called Bequest to a Nation. So of course I encouraged him to go down, and he did. He auditioned for a part in Bequest to a Nation, and he was cast as George Matcham Sr. in Bequest to a Nation.
And that would have been in the 1960s? Oh, approx. We're not historians today.
75.
1975.
Yeah.
And was that the first play your husband was in?
Yes.
Oh my. And how proud of him were you?
Oh, I told him he was wonderful
Right.
because there was method in my madness. If I'd said he was rubbish, he wouldn't have gone on stage again.
Understood. And before 1975, were you involved with the Guelph Little Theatre?
No, just to come and see the plays.
Okay.
And when I found out that I was very unhappy when we first arrived in Guelph, I didn't want to come and I didn't want to stay. I was lonely, I was miserable, I didn't want to leave my family. And we heard about Guelph Little Theatre and we came to see the plays.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal from there on was to get my husband here so that he would drive me here and I could join the theatre. And we also joined Harcourt United Church. And those two things saved my life.
Now, is that the church?
It's on Dean Avenue.
I know it, where they have those wonderful lectures
Yes.
in the summer,
Third
not in
age
the
learning.
fall.
Third age learning.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is and that's your church.
Yes.
That is a beautiful, beautiful church. I've been there for third age learning.
Good.
That's
You
how I know about
You
it.
should come and check us out on Sundays.
Well, let's just say there's lots of room for lots of different belief
Yeah.
systems in Guelph.
Of course.
And it would be hard for me to go to United Church on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time, but it would be hard.
The United it's united, it takes in everyone.
I know. In fact, I was married by a United Church minister
Oh, I love
the
it.
second time.
Yeah.
Second time. it was a wonderful service. But
Yeah.
so talk to me, if you don't mind, about whether you see a connection between the church and the theater, or are they two separate parts of your life? That's one of those questions that's not on
Yeah,
the list.
they're both part of me, you know.
Mhm.
I have my belief system, but I would say GLT means as much to me as Harcourt does, but there's not one person at GLT who is in place of God. Mind you, we've had a few over the years who thought they were, but
Would you like to tell me more about that?
no, not mentioning names.
No, you don't have to mention any names.
I mean, you know, we've had people who really thought they knew everything, and that's very difficult if you're trying to work as a team and you get one person who wants to take over. But on the whole, GLT has given me some wonderful friends in my life, and I learned a lot about theatre from the people who were here when we first joined, like John Snowden, Terry Doyle, the old people of Guelph Little Theatre. They were amazing.
And what is it about, I mean, you don't get rich coming
No,
to do
it's
work.
not
in a
about
thing.
money.
It's not about money. You don't always get your friends, although maybe you do, you don't always get your friends behind you 100%.
Right.
And you gotta have a life. I don't know if you and your husband had children. I would
3 daughters.
3. We'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah.
So, what is it about coming to a place like this and doing the work that you've done, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, that gives you whatever feeling it gives you? How's that for a question? Boy.
I just, I get such a sense of well-being when I'm on stage. And it's a way of putting aside my worries, my fears, my stresses. I can put Rosalind on one side and I can take on the other person, the other character that I'm playing. And that gives me the ability to forget all Rosalind's stresses for a couple of hours. And that's an amazing thing.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? About what if the character you're playing has some stress?
Then I use Rosalind's stress to bring out the character.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about how you do that?
I had a prof at the university when I was doing my BA degree, and I took drama, and he was from Ireland, and he was trying to get us to bring out our character. And one of the students in the class had polio, and he had his legs in braces, and he walked, you know, with that kind of shuffle. And the prof, Wes was his name, and he said, "I want to see you using your legs. You need to put," whatever character, the character you're playing has got crippled legs. They're not your legs, they're your character's legs. Use them to give us this character and show us how he's been devastated by polio. And the difference in that man was amazing. I mean, he was really a very useless actor until he got this piece of information from the teacher, you know, that you can't just drop your body. Your body's with you, but you have to use it, and it has to become part of the character that you're portraying.
So what you're telling me, if I understand you properly, is that when you're on the stage, it's not just your mind that is, okay, I'm remembering the lines, I remember her motivation.
Yeah, it's not just that, yeah.
Talk to me about
The whole
the
body has to be in place.
How do you do that?
Breathing.
Okay.
Just basically remembering these little mantras that have been said to me when I've been taking lessons from people. And there was one guy we had who directed here, John Shalbuck. Anyway, he's been dead a while, but he was a friend of mine. But he used to really goad me, really, you know, push the needle into me. And I was auditioning for him one night, and I can't remember what play it was. I think it was a one act, and he said to me, "I want you to put on those men's shoes and stand with your legs apart." So I said, "Okay." He says, "You're too much of a lady, we've got to get rid of it."
So did you physically put on men's
I
shoes?
put on men's shoes and I stood like that.
Yeah, yeah. Like a man.
I didn't stand like a man, I stood not like a lady.
You stood like a woman pretending to stand like a man.
A street woman.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
And so he didn't give me the part.
He didn't.
No. But we had fun for quite a little while there, you know.
Perhaps he thought you were too much of a lady.
He did. Oh yeah, he said, "You're too much of a lady, I can't give you this part." And then there was another part I was auditioning for. It was a Sherlock Holmes play, I think. Was it? Yeah. I was auditioning for Irene Adler.
Okay.
And there was this one line about her lying in the gutter outside the pub at some point, and I go to do this part, and Jerry said to me, "No, Ros, I cannot believe you'd lie outside the gutter of a pub, in a pub." He said, "I can't even see you in a pub, let alone lying in the gutter outside."
Really? Really? Well, now you see,
I didn't get that part either.
but you see, I can see you in a...
I have played raunchy.
Tell me how you played raunchy.
Oh my goodness, my very first play, I finally got cast in 1980.
Uh-huh.
And I'd auditioned for many years. As I say, these are some of the things that happened to me. But in 1980, I auditioned for a play called What the Butler Saw by Joe Orton.
Okay.
And it's a real raunchy English farce.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband auditioned, my daughter auditioned, and it was a brand new director. Well, he wasn't brand new. He was normally stage manager, but he was having his debut as a director, Andrew Goldie, and we all three got cast. And the play was just, well, I was a nymphomaniac lesbian.
I got to think about that for a minute. Okay.
Or at least that's what I was accused of by my husband,
Understood.
who was played by my husband.
Understood.
And there was one scene where he had to smack me across the face, and that was very difficult to do, so we practiced at home.
Uh-huh.
But we have a house with all windows,
Oh dear.
so that was a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Then our daughter also got cast, but the play was about a psychiatrist who was being tested by the Psychiatrists Association, and he also was interviewing a secretary, and he was having marital difficulties with his wife, me, and so our daughter got cast in the part of the secretary,
Uh-huh.
and I got cast as the wife, he got cast as the psychiatrist, and then the other psychiatrist was David Blythe, and well, the plot was the psychiatrist Keith had a way of interviewing the secretary, but for some reason he persuaded them to take their clothes off.
Of course. As one does. Yes.
So we ended up trading clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Just about the whole cast traded clothes. We didn't stay in the same clothes. And I just read the review of it actually because I was going through my scrapbook, and actually it was a terrible review. And the reviewer said, was it pink bikini, baby blue pajamas, red boxer shorts, and it just really and then he described what all the costumes did.
Ah.
So it was just a really stupid review. It didn't really mention the acting.
The reviewer did not understand the play.
He didn't understand it at
Didn't
all.
understand the concept of the play.
Exactly. But the play was difficult to understand.
Well,
So
mirrored life.
there were some terrible lines in that play.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, to jump to the end of this, I got cut at church for like a month. People would just cross the street and not speak
No.
to me. Yes.
No. So that actually leads me to my next question,
Yeah.
which is about I'm going to make, some big assumptions here, okay?
Yeah.
You and your husband and your daughters have a reasonable domestic life.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that,
Yeah.
with whatever that means to anybody.
It was reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, and then you come here, and there's this craziness.
Yeah.
So, as a family, I don't know how old your daughter was at the time.
She was about 17.
Yeah. So I have a daughter. I
Yeah.
remember what she was like when she was 17.
And I can see your face, and you're looking like one of the church ladies.
But I guess my question is, how did you as a family manage to cope with this crazy wife and this nutty psychiatrist and this daughter who I'm sure was a hussy,
Yeah.
in the play?
We didn't really discuss it at home.
Okay.
It was just a matter of learning, like if I said anything to Dan, I would say, how are your lines going? Make sure
Yeah.
you know them by the next rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, it was almost as though we were one entity, and if there was anything going wrong with the rehearsal, the director would say, "Slaters!" And even though he was one of the other characters, we got in trouble.
So the director didn't really understand how you were trying to differentiate
No.
between your family, which was a normal, regular
Family, yeah.
family, and this craziness on
That's
stage.
right, yeah.
So,
And this was my first time on stage.
oh
so-
my God.
Yeah.
And yet you came back.
Oh, I came back, yeah.
Why?
I must be an idiot.
I didn't say that.
Fool for punishment.
But you must have had fun.
Oh, it was lots of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Just loved it.
And how did you, as mum, and now I'm making a big assumption here that mum is the center of sanity
Universe.
in the family.
Yeah.
Well, sanity in the family, or maybe I'm, telling you more about
Yeah.
myself. Mum is sanity here, and she's saying, well, yeah, let's go off and do
And
this.
suddenly she's going off and saying all these horrible lines.
Yes. How do you think your kids manage that? Your 17-year-old was one daughter. You had two others? Have
Yes,
two others?
and the youngest one, who was about 12 at that time, she was the script assistant.
Okay.
So she was the one tripping out these filthy lines when we forgot them.
Okay.
But it just became, it was theatre, and I don't think we ever talked about it, but we just decided that theatre was not family and it was not church, it was an entity on its own, and so we just let it go.
You mentioned that in England, your parents were in the Gilbert and Sullivan Theatre,
Yes.
which is very different than what you just described.
Very different, yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Did they ever see you in theater here in Canada?
No, unfortunately they didn't.
Oh,
No.
that's too bad, isn't
Yeah.
it? What do you think they might have thought?
I don't know. They might have said, well, Doreen could have done it better.
That's your sister. Oh no.
No, I don't think they would have been quite that outspoken. They would have been proud, I'm sure, yeah. But see, I didn't have a singing voice, and they were all beautiful singers, my father especially. And I did not have a singing voice. And in fact, when we sang at home, they would make me sing the bass because I had a grunting voice.
That's awful. That's awful. Do you sing in the choir here?
No, I did for a time, but not for very long, because I don't sing.
You don't sing.
I did sing, and then I had to have surgery on my larynx. I had a nodule on my larynx, and I haven't been able to sing since I had that surgery.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah.
But I play flute instead.
Oh well. So you're musical.
Well, I've taken up flute since my husband died, yeah.
And how do you find that?
Oh, it's fun.
Is
I
it?
love it, yeah.
Is it? I was thinking I would take up an instrument. My granddaughter is playing the piano now.
Okay,
She's 6,
yeah,
and she's trying to teach me, and I'm like, no.
yeah.
And my kids are musical.
Do you read music?
I read music.
Okay, so it would come back to you.
Maybe.
So what happened was, at Keith's funeral, I was, talking to friends, and Leslie Marshall, who has directed me in a couple of plays, he directed me in what should have been my last play, Little Women. And then, and he double cast it because my husband was sick and we didn't know how things were going to go. Anyway, at Keith's funeral, he said to me, what are you going to do with your life? You'll have such a hole in it now. I said, I have no idea. He said, you're going to go back to the theatre? I said, no, time's not right at the moment. I can't go back to the theatre. because we did it together,
Uh-huh.
and I just couldn't go back.
That's understandable. That's understandable.
Yeah, so anyway, so Leslie said, "Are you musical at all?" I said, "No." I said, "Well," he said, did you not play any instrument when you were a child?" I said, "I played piano." He said, "So you read music?" I said, "Yes, I read music." He said, "Have you ever heard of New Horizons Band?" Well, I hadn't, but he told me about it. And he said, "What instrument would you like to play? Is there any instrument you've ever wanted to play?" And I said, "Yes, flute." He said, "Oh, flute, why flute?" So I told him the story of when we were in England on sabbatical. We were in Cambridge for a year, and it just happened to be our silver wedding that year. And my husband asked me, "Is there anything you would like me to get you specially as a special gift for our silver wedding?" And I said, "Yes, I would love a silver flute." And he bought me a flute, and I never learned to play it. And then with Leslie telling me about New Horizons, I joined in. Keith died in the February. I joined in the September, and started learning, taking flute lessons. Then I took private lessons, and I'm still taking private lessons. And so it filled the hole that Keith's death had made, and I'm really enjoying it. If I practice more, I would do better. But you know, it's one of these things. Practicing, learning lines. They're not exactly fun.
Can you tell me if you feel a connection between music and the theater?
Well, it's all artistic. So yes, there is a connection.
And what and how do you think that connection or that part of your soul?
My soul, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about your soul.
Yes, my soul.
Of your soul. How do you think the theater and music fulfills that for you?
That's a difficult question because I haven't thought about it.
Well, that's okay.
I'm the kind of person, I get thrilled by arts of any kind. So music and theatre together, they give me such a feeling of well-being. And even if I'm just listening to music, listening to other singers, like Harcourt has a fabulous choir, and to hear them on a Sunday morning lifts my spirits.
I understand that. I understand that. I am not musical. I have many musicians in my family. I told you about my granddaughter. I'm not in the least bit surprised. Going back, I see musicians, and I see writers and that kind of thing. And I guess why I'm telling you all this is because an academic would probably call it an artistic theory. We're not academics, so we don't have to call that. But what is it that you think about these things that are not like music, like the theater, like writing? You told me before you're writing a book. What is it that you think those things do for us that, I don't know, baking a cake can't do? Or maybe baking a cake is part of the same, I don't know.
Yeah. They grow our soul.
Talk to me about that.
They just they give me a sense of well-being.
Do you want to stop?
No.
Okay. They give you a sense of well-being. So when you worked at the theater, I understand that you acted. Did you do other roles as well?
I directed.
Talk to me about that.
I submitted a play. Which one was it? I'm just trying to think. Oh, it was Charlotte's Web for Christmas. And it was accepted, and so I directed Charlotte's Web for Christmas, and I double cast it because I had a lot of children in it, and I had dancers in it, and I had singers in it, and it was a massive cast. I think it was 54, I think it was, if I remember rightly. And it was just a wonderful experience of all these different age groups coming together. I think the youngest was about 6, and the eldest was 90.
Talk to me about, that's such a wonderful story. The basis is such a wonderful story. Talk to me about how you decided. I'm very interested in how you incorporated dance.
Well, there was there was a kind of a jingle that all the animals said together, and I made it into a square dance. So instead of music or singing, there was a chant going on with their lines. So each one of them said their lines in the right place, and then they danced to it, doing the square dance, the Virginia Reel. And it all worked out, and we had Barbara Tompkins. She was a sheep, and she was in her late 80s at that time, and she was lovely. Yeah, and she had a little sheep as well. I can't remember, I think it was her daughter, I mean, in the character. So we had a baby sheep and a mother sheep. And then Keith was the rat.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And Jerry Butts, Jerry Butts wanted his daughter in this play so badly. And I said, well, I don't know, Jerry, because by that time I'd had a lot of auditions and I'd got a lot of people. And she wasn't a dancer, so I couldn't put her in the dance chorus. And I said to him, you know how we could incorporate this, Jerry? I said, if you were willing to be the pig, she could be your little piglet. So that's what happened.
Well, that's fun.
So I got Jerry and his daughter Samantha in the play, and they were wonderful. And Jerry, and when we were talking in the green room after the show, we would say, and then of course Jerry's uncle was his name, he was the pig uncle, and Jerry said, "You've left something out, Rosalind." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I was a prize-winning pig."
Of course. Of course, that's ego for you,
Yes,
isn't it?
exactly. You
That's
had to be the prize-winning pig.
Do you remember what year you did that?
2003, I think. I might be wrong on that.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And was that the first play you directed?
Yes,
Wow.
it was. And now let me try and remember this. That was the first play. Yeah, it was the first play I directed, and I think it was the first. I think it was the first Christmas play we ever did. We brought in the Christmas play mainly as a fundraiser, and Keith and I were away on sabbatical, and when we got. No, let me think. What year was that? No, that was a different play.
Okay.
No one had done anything for Centennial, for for
1967.
Millennium.
Oh, for the year 2000?
Yeah.
Really?
And nothing had been done about it. And so we were both on the board. I think Keith was president. And I had the idea that we would do a Christmas show, specifically Christmas. And it would close on New Year's Eve with a big bringing in the New Year party. And that was Sleeping Beauty.
Oh.
No, sorry. Yes, Sleeping Beauty. And Keith wrote the script. And Sleeping Beauty slept for 1,000 years, not 100.
And
Actually, I didn't direct that. I produced it.
you produced that.
Michelle Kreitzer directed it, yeah.
And why do you think, because what we've talked about is the theater showing, or I'm sorry, I'm losing my words. The theater, you get it, right? the theater is consistent with timing. You've done something for the year 2000, which was an important year in the country. Why do you think the theater should recognize those kinds of years?
Well, I think everyone recognizes those kind of celebratory years. And if the theatre is not part of that, they're not part of the celebration. And so they lose credence in the community.
So talk to me about why that's important, why the theater should be part of the community and not off there, something that is revered by the community.
Because we want the community to be our backers, we want them to support us, we want to come see the plays and pay out their money so that we can buy a new roof. I mean, it's not all about money, but money is very important when you own a building this size.
So let's imagine there's enough money for the roof.
Yeah.
Let's, snap our fingers, we got enough money for the roof. Aside from the money, because money's important. We know that. We've all got to eat. We've all got to,
Yeah.
we got to pay for what we own.
And I lived through the fire.
Talk to me. You lived through
I
the
lived through
fire.
the fire years, yeah.
Talk to me about the fire
Well,
years.
finish what you were saying about,
Oh, no.
sorry, I've interrupted you.
No, we'll come back to that. You
Okay.
talk to me about the fire years.
Okay, so I was in the play that was going to open
Oh,
a few days later.
okay.
It was called Blood Relations, and it was
Mm-hmm.
the second time we'd done Blood Relations. The first time we did it, Keith directed it, and it went to festival and it won some awards. The second time, it was directed by Art Scholl, and I got cast as the Mountain of Flesh.
Okay.
That was her. Her daughter called it that.
Okay.
So I became the Mountain of Flesh, and I am not a mountain of flesh, as you see. And I think I was probably less in those days than I am now. So I had to have a fat body,
Oh my God.
which we actually had in the costume room, but they had to refurbish it. And the night before the fire, I had been helping at the theatre, and we were painting the set, if I remember rightly. And luckily, I took the fat body home with me because it needed a bit of repair. And if I hadn't, it would have been burned with everything else, and that would have been a real difficult prop
Yeah.
to replace. So I took home the fat body, and the next morning, Nikki Finlay called me. She was playing one of the women. There were two main women in it. She was one of them. And she said, "Ross, have you heard the news?" And I said, "What news?" She said, "The theatre's burned down." I said, "Don't be ridiculous." Because, it's like people will do these
Yeah.
nasty jokes. She said, I am not joking, Ross. It really is burning down, she said. She said, if you lived where I live, you'd be able to smell it.
Oh my God.
So it was like terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible, panicky feeling,
I can imagine.
It's just, I'm emoting at the thought
Of
of it.
course you're emotional. It was like your second home.
Well, it was, exactly. And Terry Doyle, I wrote this on a programme a couple of times. Terry Doyle said he just couldn't walk past the theatre. I'm trying to remember his very words. It was a pain too fresh,
Yeah.
too deep, and I can't remember anyway.
I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
Did you know the first chair of the board, Arthur
Wilkinson.
Wilkinson? Did
No,
you
I didn't know him.
He's before your time.
Yes.
Yes. I will tell you,
Bank manager.
I know. I've been doing some research.
Yes.
And I think I found his grandchildren.
Oh, good.
I think.
Excellent.
I have to do some work.
So that would be good if you could get him to talk. Or the person who donated the painting in there,
Uh-huh.
they're still around because they gave that painting not too long ago.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
their mother or grandmother playing the part in The Broken Jug.
The broken jug.
Yeah.
Well, I
The Broken Jug was the opening play.
after the
Just a minute.
fire.
In the other building,
In the other
Dublin
building.
Street building. And then they used the same play to open this building.
That's wonderful.
And my husband was in it the second time.
It's wonderful. I mean, I walked up past the
The old
remains of the
building.
theater. I walked up and the stone wall, and I love the fact that it's still there.
They've left the wall, yeah.
What I would love even more, and it's on my list of things to do, like blah, 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 is to have it commemorated.
Yes, there should be.
Yes. Do you agree with me?
I do.
Yes.
But the people who bought the place, they would have to do it, not us.
Well, I'm not shy. I can knock on their door.
Yeah.
You figured out that I'm not shy?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So, when you reopened here,
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about what that felt like to reopen. I gather there was some moving around a fair bit to get
Yes.
temporary space. Can you tell me about that, and then tell me what it was like to reopen here?
Oh, it was amazing. I actually was not on the committee. Keith was on the committee to find the new building.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the play that opened it. I was not, I can't remember what I did. I don't think I was any part of anything. They'd left me after I didn't get cast in the play, so I didn't have a part. I probably helped with social, but anyway. But the feeling, you know, walking into the new theatre after all the work we had done, and I'd done a lot of painting and, you know, odd job stuff. It was an amazing feeling to have it rise from the ashes.
It's a beautiful building.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a lovely building, and it's in a wonderful part of the city.
Yeah. But, you know, you'd be amazed how many people don't know where it is. You talk about Guelph Little Theatre and they say, oh, that's on Paisley Street, isn't it? No, that was the old one, you know. And then you go into the whole thing, no, it's on Morris Street. Oh, Morris Street, where's that? Well, it's in the ward, it's off York Road. Oh, really?
Now, why do you think that is?
I don't know. Either they're not theatre people and they don't really care, or they don't even want to be, they don't want to be reminded that they haven't given any money to it. I don't know.
What do you think we can do to, I mean, if you were that person who said, we should do this, one of the things you've talked about is young people, and you shared your daughters with us,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they're still involved.
My daughter is president at the moment.
Well, you see, there you go. See, what do I know, right?
Yeah. So she has been in Guelph Little Theatre since she was, I think, 15 years
Oh,
old.
for heaven's sake.
So she was in the youth drama group. And last September, I guess, she became president.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And I was president for 2 years. My husband was president for 2 years. So it's a family thing.
Business. And what about, does she have children, your daughter?
Yes, she has 3 children and 6 grandchildren. I have 6 great-grandchildren
Oh my God.
from her. 3 great-grandchildren from my youngest daughter.
Isn't that wonderful?
They're the 3 are in the UK.
And what about your daughter that's here? What about her children? Are they involved in the theatre here?
They come and usher from time to time.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it was funny one night. I was here buying a ticket to see the show, and I was looking around and I saw this young man, and I'm looking across at him and I thought, oh, I know that kid. I must have directed him in something. And I'm looking at him. I think, who is he? And I could not think who he was, but he was so familiar. And a little while later he came across, he said, hi Grammy, how are you doing? It was one of my great-grandchildren.
oh my word. And how did you feel?
Oh, it felt strange that I didn't recognise him, but he was in a different place,
Sure.
you know. I didn't expect him to be at the theatre, but of course it made full sense because his grandmother brought him to usher.
So if we were to look at the, I'm sorry to use the word, I was a bureaucrat for too long. If we were to look at the demographics of the people who come to the theatre and the people who know about the theatre, we would understand that most of the people are, shall we say, of a certain age. Okay, what would we do? What do you think we should do? We haven't got a ton of money, but you know, we got time and we got people. What should we do to get the people of Guelph, the young people of Guelph, interested in this theatre?
I better not say this because it's on.
You can say whatever you want.
It was just a silly glib remark.
It's all right.
I was going to say pop parties, but that's...
It's legal.
I'm just being foolish.
Well, no, hey, listen, we could make the brownies.
No, it's not a good idea.
Oh, okay. Why is it not a good idea?
Because by accident, I ate a piece of brownie, and I thought I was going to die. It was just the most awful reaction.
Well, we'd have to tell people.
So
what we were
I
putting in the
wouldn't
brownies.
recommend it to anyone. But
No pot parties.
no pop parties, no. But you know, we need to speak to whatever they enjoy doing, and I don't think it's in my vocabulary.
Okay.
I mean, I grew up on Shakespeare.
Right.
My name is from Shakespeare. My parents love Shakespeare.
I understand, yeah.
And so I can't understand people saying, "Oh, I can't stand Shakespeare," because it's been my life.
Well, Judith here is going to see, or has been to see, the Shakespeare at Stratford that apparently takes place on motorcycles.
Well, that's Macbeth.
Yes, Macbeth. So I would say to you, as a fan of Shakespeare,
Yeah.
I would say to you that he told the stories. So how do we make those stories? I mean, come on, Romeo and Juliet, that is the quintessential love story if
Yeah.
you're 16.
Yeah.
How do we tell those stories so that our young people want to come not only and to see them, but to be part of those stories. What should we do?
You see, I'm a purist where Shakespeare is concerned, so I don't like people messing around with Shakespeare.
Ah.
So I'm not the kind of person who's going to make any changes. But, well, I'll tell you my experience. I went to one of the worst schools in England. It was very impoverished, and it didn't have very many good teachers. But I had just one good teacher. She taught English, and she had every single year. I was in that school 5 years, and every year she directed every single class to do a Shakespeare play on Shakespeare's birthday. And she chopped it, she condensed them a little bit because there were too many. But the whole day, the whole school sat in the gymnasium and did Shakespeare. And we had worked on this for like 6 months before that. So every single class did a Shakespeare play. And we discussed Shakespeare. We discussed how the other classes had brought them together. So it was like a whole life for the whole time we were working on the Shakespeare productions. And I think if we had some innovative teachers today, that kind of thing could still be going on. But it isn't.
And maybe not just with Shakespeare, maybe Edward Albee.
Yeah.
His name just popped out of my head, I don't know why.
He's not for children.
Well, I would suggest
Did you see Goat?
I did know it. I did. Tell me about it.
Talk about raunchy.
Isn't the theater? Okay, how about this? We gotta go soon. But I'm gonna ask you a question. I think, and it's based on my point of view, I think that part of what theater can do for us is help us illuminate the parts of our lives that maybe we don't really want to talk about.
Yeah.
So maybe
they,
Edward Albee is right there.
They help us bring the shadows bring the light from the shadows
Oh, that's a.
and put them on stage.
Do you want to tell me a little bit more about that? We haven't got much more time, but I really like what you're saying.
Well, I don't even know where I was going when I said that. We have to. I mean, when we're doing theatre, we are birthing new words. If we are learning, we learn the lines. But if we are good at our craft, we are bringing the words to life. So we're not saying them as though we're just reciting like parrot fashion. We are bringing them into the light from shadow.
Now talk to me if you were talking to a 15-year-old boy, you know them.
I don't know 15-year-old boys.
15-year-old boys are awful.
Yeah.
I had one I know. And they don't care about Shakespeare. They don't care about the theater. They care about life.
Life.
So-
And filth to some degree.
Oh yes, absolutely, Phil. Absolutely, Phil. So how do you talk to that boy to say, look, maybe you can come to the theater and maybe you can learn how to express your filth in a more...
Yeah. I think that some kids get into theatre because they're exhibitionists, they want to be on stage. And once you've got them on stage and the bug is bitten, then you can't get rid of them even if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a matter of a play that's really going to interest them, and then they'll all come out and see it and all start talking about it.
And that's what we got to do.
Yeah, but what plays, I don't know.
I don't know, I'm not a 15-year-old boy.
No.
Maybe we should have a focus group.
I don't know.
That just occurred to me.
15-year-old boys, you mean all
Yeah,
coming together?
10 or 12, 15-year-old
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. I was actually, I was asked to be part of what was it now? A drama group, I guess, at John F. Ross School.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it started off at my church. And the leader had quit, and so they needed someone else, so they asked me to take over. This was the funniest experience, one of the funniest experiences of my life, because I walk in there and I'm not dressed like this, I'm dressed in winter clothes, so very formal kind of looking clothes. And I'm old, you know, and there's, I mean, I was younger then than I am now, but there's the leader, and he's come back for the night to talk to me. He was a delightful guy. His hair was leopard skin.
Sure.
He'd had it buzzed and then, spotted. He was great. And all the kids were kind of his type of kids. And they were talking like modern kids do. So we chatted. The evening went reasonably well. And the next time I went, one of the girls got talking to me, and there were less people had turned up. And I said, what's happened to everyone tonight? And she said, well, she said, can I speak freely to you? I said, of course. She said, some of them were turned off by your clothes, she said, and I said to them, her clothes might be different from yours, but she's really a nice person if you get talking to her.
That's great.
So it was just like, the opposite end.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what my generation is thinking about them with their spotted hair and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, she's thinking the same thing about me. Her clothes are weird. So
And the theater helps us get inside all of that,
that's
doesn't
right.
it? That's right.
And what those things would do, what that drama was doing for these kids, was helping them express their problems with their life. A lot of them were gay. They were having problems with their sexuality, and things that teenagers have a worry about anyway. And they were doing little plays that brought out their angst, and they were sharing it with each other.
That's wonderful.
And it really worked well for them.
I've got to stop you.
Yes, it's time.
I could talk to you for another 5 hours.
Well, come and visit me.
Well, I will. If you invite me, I will.
Sure.
But thank you so much
You're very welcome.
for talking to us. I've learned so much, and I have written focus group.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So we're not going to hear the end of that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.